Hi everyone! Today I'm going to be showing you my watercolor collection. This has been such a long overdue video and I do have some things I'd like to explain regarding this collection, but I will do that at the end of the video. If you're new to this channel, check out my Q&A video if you'd like to get to know more about me. Just a little bit of prefacing here. I'll be showing my ceramic palettes, watercolor tube collection, small palettes, large palettes, my junkyard, dot card collection, and forgotten stuff. Let's begin, shall we? First up, ceramic palettes. I don't have that many of these, so let's just quickly get through them before we get to the good stuff. This was from Meeden. I like to call this my color wheel palette because it has 12 large deep wells around the perimeter. I posted a review video of this a while back, so you can check that out for more information. Next, this cute little flower ceramic palette. Seems like everyone has this because it's so widely available. I like to use mine for gouache because it's small and easy to quickly clean. And then my third and last ceramic palette is this rectangular one that comes with a lid, or you can use it for mixing as well. It has 12 wells, and despite being small, I've found it to be quite enjoyable to paint with. Possibly because of the circular wells instead of those rectangular half pans. I also customized it further by adding these cute little ceramic bows. They're just standalone pieces that I attached to the palette using some sticky tack. And now let's move on to my collection of tubes, grouped by brands. This one is Holbein's set of 30 colors. I've spoken in detail of the reasons why I got this set, but in short, it's almost identical to Shibasaki Sensei's palette. Here is my collection of Rembrandt watercolor tubes. I didn't realize I had that many, but now that I see them all spread out like this, it's definitely quite the collection. The large 20mm tubes used to be quite affordable here in Thailand, and I was also able to buy so many of these because I collected them over a couple clearance sales. If you're not very familiar with Rembrandt watercolors, I highly recommend watching my video, this one here. You not only get to know what I think of the brand, but also there were many comments from others who agreed. And here is my little tray of Shinhan PWC watercolor tubes. I haven't made a video on this yet, so I won't say too much, but I highly doubt you can guess what it'll be about anyway. And then my tray of Magello tubes. The whole range is available open stock here in Thailand and is one of the cheapest brands as well, so that's why I have quite a bit here. I've found that many people who got the regular sets had mediocre experiences, whereas those that got the pure pigment sets always rave about the brand. That's why I posted my video on Magello and its granulation. I will have some more tubes to show you later, but for now, let's get into some of the small palettes that I have. This here is my pastel tints palette. After my Boku Undo palette video, it occurred to me that I quite liked to paint with a pastel color palette. I didn't want to buy so many new tubes of paint, so I mixed all of these on my own, with the exception of a few ones that I already had, like lilac and lavender. I do feel like they're still a bit too bright for my liking, but that's alright. This was very much an experimental palette. And here is my metallics and glitter palette. I had Paul Rubens colors available open stock to me at one point, so I chose ones that were interesting to me and what I thought would have versatile application. And then there are also some other brands mixed in here as well, like Holbein, Van Gogh, and Daniel Smith. Here is the infamous Winsor&Newton Cotman Pocket Field palette. I didn't like the colors, so I ended up putting my Van Gogh colors in here instead. It's much more usable for me this way. And oh my, this is supposed to be my special darks palette, but I hadn't gotten around to it at the time of filming this. But yeah, it's supposed to have some black and neutral colors as well, and also some special colors like Shadow Violet, you know, for regular and special monotone studies, which admittedly I don't do enough of. Oh no! I feel so ashamed of this palette because I still haven't done a video on this, and it's been like over 6 months, I think. So you can see that it's the Sennelier La Petite palette, but I've already swapped several colors out for actual Sennelier artist grade watercolors and also added some Jackson's own brand watercolors in here as well. And here is my Mijello palette. It was actually a set of 24 half pans, but I took out the black insert and added an extra column of 4 colors, so now I can fit 28 colors in here. And now, moving on to my bigger palettes. This one is my current go-to palette, which is my main Roman small palette in my favorite high-capacity slim palettes from Jackson's. I like it a lot because I'm able to use large brushes easily without caring too much about damaging my brushes. And then in this palette are my extra Roman small colors that I don't use on a regular basis but are still in rotation. This Rosa Gallery Romantic set is one of the newer sets that I've received, and I hadn't painted much with it at the time of filming this, but I've since been using it more and can highly recommend them if Rosa is affordable to you. This is Nevskaya Palitra's set of 21 Sonnet watercolors. It's basically White Nights but student grade. I've since upgraded this set by having added my own White Nights colors. I think I have a video on that. I can't quite remember since it's been a few years, but if I do, I'll link it below. Oh, and this palette I spray painted myself to be a shimmery pink and gold pattern. I keep my Rembrandt watercolor pans in here. This is basically an extension of the Rembrandt tubes I showed earlier. You'll see that I was able to fit 44 half pans in here because most of these came in the 24 set. So it came with the Royal Talens half pans, which are smaller than generic half pans. And last of my palettes is the newest addition, Paul Rubens 5th generation watercolor set. I had Paul Rubens on my list of brands to try for a long time now, so I was quite happy to receive this from the brand to finally be able to advise others whether the quality is good or not. And then here I have what I call my watercolor pans junkyard. It's basically an unorganized mess. It doesn't sound good, but this is where all of my other colors go, like those that don't have a home in a proper palette or set. Several of these were gifted from some of you guys, some were taken out of bought sets, and some were just colors that I squeezed out of tubes to test the color and whatnot. It does look like it's all over the place, but I assure you it's in an order where I know which colors are where. Moving on, this also looks like a mess, but it's actually my drawer of paint tubes that I grab from the most. It's sort of grouped by color. Yellows and reds, blues and greens, browns, things like that. I won't go through all of them, but I definitely want to mention these two. These are colors I mixed myself. One is my own unique violet mix, and the other is an attempt to replicate Roman Small's Autumn Green. If you haven't seen the videos already, check them out for tips on how to mix and fill your own empty tubes. And now a little break from actual paints. This is my stack of watercolor dot cards and color charts. These are incredibly valuable to any watercolor artist out there, since we get a glimpse of what a brand has to offer. And they also serve as great references for the future. Instead of linking each individual swatching video I've done, I am going to link below my dot card playlist. And as I put each of these one down, if you see anything that I haven't made a video on, feel free to comment below and ask away. I'm always here to answer questions anyone may have. The two that I'd like to bring to your attention to are the Martini dot card swatching video, which was by far the worst dot card I've ever swatched, and my Mary Blues dot card swatching video because I don't think there are many videos out there swatching the full range as it's not easily available. Mine was from momart.com if anyone wants to get one. And then these two, the Schmincke Super Granulating Colors and Sennelier. I had recently mentioned these two, but I haven't gotten around to them yet. The Sennelier dots are so small that I feel like I have to film it correctly in one attempt, so it's been making me quite nervous to start. Anyway, Apart from official branded dot cards, handmade dot cards from friends are also extremely valuable for referencing. Now, if you can't get samples of paint to try for yourself, the next best thing are hand-painted color charts. These are official ones from Holbein for watercolor and gouache, but if you have a friend that can send these to you in paper form, it can be cheaper than sending paint. And if you can't get any of these, you can collect color charts like me. Some of these I have the official color charts that the brands give out, and some I've printed myself on glossy photo paper. Back to actual paints, here is my collection of, well, I'm just going to call this the sub-packaged collection, or things that I bought to try and also to make videos on, but now, in hindsight, they're very much just novelty items for me. I don't see myself going back to use most of these. I definitely got inspired by some of the unique mixes, but they won't be making their way into my main palettes anytime soon. Should I just donate these, maybe? What do you think? And then the final category, the forgotten stuff. These are just things that I've either had for a very long time, they don't make me happy, or they're just extra stuff like empty palettes and watercolor adjacent things. And now for the explanation I mentioned in the beginning of this video. So I filmed the bulk of this video around the end of last year when I had to pack and move due to flooding. That's why you don't see every single item in this big compiled shot here. I'm still sort of in limbo, but I'm okay for now. I did want this video to be as complete as possible, so you'll have seen added things like the Paul Rubens set and the forgotten stuff. Anyway, it took me a while to put this together, so if anyone has any questions or anything, drop your questions below and I will make sure to do my best and answer them for you. As always, thank you so much for watching, everyone. Don't forget to drink lots of water and stay hydrated.